episode of my trash review. This is your boy Reg here, and the album that we are going to talk about today is the Boot Camp Clicks. The Boot Camp Clicks' first solo album, well, group album, I should say, for the people. Give me a second. Oh shit. Okay, phone's slowing. Okay, for the people, released in 1997. This was released on, of course, their Duck Down Records, which was under Priority Records. All right. Now, before I really begin my trash reviews and stuff like that, I know it's been a while since I've actually done a trash review. I think the last one was being T Has No Mercy. In most of my trash reviews, I sometimes try to examine not just why express why a certain album is bad, but try to examine why the album is considered trash or considered bad or lukewarm to begin with and shit like that. I know that a lot of people were not probably expecting me to review this album, or if you guys know about the album, you guys are. But yeah, so with this album for the people, it's gonna get a lot of discussion from me basically. So you guys should know who the Boot Camp Clique are. You know they consist of Buckshot, Original Gun Clappers, which consists of Louisville Sluggers, starring Wonder and Top Dog. Helter Skelter, which consists of Rock and the late great Sean Price, and Smith and Wesson, which consists of Tech and Steel. They're an East Coast collective from Brooklyn and shit like that. Um, they got the notoriety from beginning with Black Moon, when Black Moon came out with a classic song, "Who Got the Props." That was like a huge underground smash and shit like that, and it got them a deal with Nervous Wreck Records. And so fast forward to 1993, that's when they had dropped the classic album Enter the Stage, which Enter the Stage, in my opinion, one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. Possibly maybe my second or third favorite album from the Boot Camp Clique. Just the raw, gritty sound of they brought into the table and shit like that. And so, and that also introduced, people to the Beat Miners, which consist of, Evil D and Mr. Walt. And so with Enter the Stage also debuted Smith and Wesson 2 and shit like that. So next thing they try to get Smith and Wesson a deal and shit like that. And got them a deal basically. And so in 1994 they came out with their song called Bucktown and shit, which would be off the Shining album and shit. So it just brought forward to the table that Duck Down Records was later on founded in '95 by Drew Hart and Buckshot and shit like that too. So, but before that came to fruition, the Shining had came out in '90. I want to say early '95. It came out early '95, and it was also released on Nervous Records as well. That was from Smith and Wesson. Very dope album, classic album. I pretty much that's maybe my second favorite album from the Boot Camp. Like just the production alone, songs like Soundboy Borelli, Shining, Home Sweet Home, Wipe Your Mouth, man. Like, come on, like that whole fucking album is fire. Just one of my personal favorites and shit like that. And so with the Shining, and shit like that, that but that really set forth the fire of Boot Camp Click and shit. You know what I'm saying? That really set forth the fire. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that album also debuted like Original Gun Clappers 2 and shit like that. Top Dog and Stavanger Wonder was on Soundboy Borelli and shit like that too. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, man. Like, and so Duck Down Records, they formed and shit like that. And fast forward to late '95, Helter Skelter, the Original Gun Claps, was supposed to have came out with the Fab Five album, basically, with that Fab Five album. But as I was discussing last week when I reviewed the Storm with Tribe the other day and shit like that, basically, that album didn't come to fruition. So they split up and Helter Skelter would end up releasing the Nocturnal album and shit. And a Nocturnal was basically the first boot camp album that was not just all produced by the beat miners, because you had some outside production from cats like Lord Jamar and Evil Swift, E Swift, basically. And yeah, the Nocturnal, man, that's another dope album. That's made my favorite album out of the four, in my opinion. Like Therapy, Operation Lockdown, Who That, Understand, man. That's my personal favorite song off that album. Like that's a fucking banger right there. I need to get my hands off that on that album too, man. I need to get my hands on that album together, because that's the only one of the four that I don't have my hands on, which is kind of crazy though. But because it kind of goes up and down in price too, so that's what people gotta realize too. And so fast forward to that December of '96, Tupac, he was a huge fan of the Boot Camp Clique, and he originally wanted to invite them to do the One Nation compilation, which, if you guys are Tupac heads, you guys should know about the One Nation project that he was trying to do, which combined like East Coast and West Coast and stuff like that. It was a way to like stop the East Coast West Coast beef, but unfortunately, oh shit, I hate this fucking camera. Ugh. But unfortunately, Pac got killed in '96, September '96. R.I.P. to Tupac, of course, and shit. So yeah, that One Nation kind of like fell down, and shit like that. And but some songs it could be heard like on like compilation, especially like on the better days. But the way that they remix everything, you might as well be used to hearing like the OG versions of those songs, basically. And so late 1996, it was time for Original Gun Clappers to drop their album and shit like that, the Storm. Which, yeah, I've talked about that album last week. Very dope album, very underrated album. You know, to this day, it's still fucking crazy that Sterang Wonder did not release a fucking solo album to this day. But it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, so those four albums, very instrumental when it came to like the boot camp click and whatnot. So with that being said, fast forward to 1997, it was about time that they dropped, a full-on project. You know what I'm saying? But then a key factor kind of happened that kind of changed what the project was supposed to have been about. The Beat Miners was not producing on this album. That's crazy. Like, imagine that's like RZA, like no RZA. That's like it's just that key element, basically. You know what I'm saying? That key element, that what makes something work and shit like that. Not saying that these cats, can't spit, because everybody in the boot camp can fucking spit. So with that being said, for the people, it didn't really have that same gritty basement sound, basically. Because you know what I'm saying? Because Boogie Brown and Buckshot, they wanted to incorporate like a lot of live instrumentation, and it didn't really go well with like a lot of people, basically. So with that being said, let's get into the album now. Singles this album is known for, I want to say, give me 1 second. Did it come? Did it? This album have any singles? Hold up. But while I'm looking for like singles and shit like that, we can go get to the producers. Include Tony Touch, who is very very dope producer who's worked with the likes of Big L, rest in peace. He worked with Busta Rhymes. He worked with Eminem, Boogie Brown, Buckshot. Yes, Buckshot. He makes beats too and shit. Swan, Shalik, Sean J. Period, Easy LP, and Square. All right, and just double check if this album has any singles. I know I should have done my research beforehand, but yeah, I should. Fuck it. I think the only known singles I'm looking at right now are Heads Are Ready Part 2 with Down by Law being like a B side and Okie Dokie in Illinois. Alright, so those are the fucking singles. Alright, so this album has about 14 tracks. You know, the album has 14 tracks. So let's get started. Track number one, 1900 Get the Boot. That was basically a little kind of like a little intro skit with featuring like the original KIM and shit like that. It's just kind of like somebody like calling to boot camp click, you know, kind of like a voicemail shit. Not really something to brag on, right? In my opinion. Track number two. We got is Down by Law. This song, it just definitely has basically all the members of Boot Camp Click. Oh my god. We already have a problem with this album. It's like, oh, let's take it back to 97. The late 90s was kind of like the bad boy era, as people should say. And around that time in the late 90s, a lot of East Coast rappers was like picking like familiar 80s, not just like 80s like top 40 songs and shit like that, but basically like 80s hip hop hits, basically 80s hip hop hits basically and shit like that. So with that being said, remember with when Puffy came out with Can't Nobody Hold Us Down in 97, in early 97, that uses a sample of, you know, Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5, The Message. I feel like, you know, with the Boot Camp Click, they're trying to do the same thing. So they use like the sample of, I think, like the Cold Crush Brothers at the Dixie, which is a dope song that was included on the Wild Style soundtrack and shit. They try to do that and shit like that, and it's already, you can already tell like the difference in sound and shit like that, because it was as if they were trying to reach for that commercial appeal basically. So I mean, yeah, I didn't really care too much for this track right here, to keep it a buck with everybody. But it's just something that I've kind of peeped game about when it came to this album. You know what I'm saying? Because there's like a lot of comparisons I kind of see with this album and a little bit of what they were trying to do with the whole Bad Boy with No Way Out. Even though this album was kind of released months before No Way Out too. Talking too damn much, but with that being said, next track, Night Riders. Whew. Oh man. So this version of this track features a singer by the name of LaVoice and shit like that. And basically the song has who's on this track? Smith and Wesson and Buckshot. Pretty much this is probably my close to my favorite song off this album. But me personally, I'm gonna be real with everybody. I'm like the version with Aaliyah Moore. The one with Aaliyah Moore, like the original version. And there's actually a remix that's produced by a young Ninth Wonder too. So just to let everybody know about that shit. But yeah, this definitely is probably one of those songs that's closest to that traditional boot camp sound, but with like a late 90s twist. Fuck. Very cool song. I like this song right here. Yeah, man, very like this song. I definitely feel like Tech and Steel definitely did a thing on this song. Like they all did their thing, but yeah, this song is very hot and shit. I like that fucking beat. This definitely has that nocturnal kind of feel to it. But you guys should definitely also check out the Aaliyah version too. Rest in peace to Aaliyah, by the way. You know. Then next track we got is Heads Are Ready Part 2. This song has Helter Skelter, you know, all the fucking boot camp click and shit like that. Everybody doing their fucking thing. Me personally, this song is pretty hot. I want to say Louisville. Um, Starang and fucking Sean Price definitely had the best verses and shit like that. Especially fucking when Starang and when he says, I know me and Reno be like the Lone Ranger and Tonto, sticking niggas up for their read and they fronto. I play the background, call me the head honcho. Out to get mine, I got no time for your combo. Like, where is this solo album, fucking Starang? Where is this fucking solo album, man? You're killing me right now. But yeah, that's fucking Heads Already Part 2. Yeah, pretty solid song. Um, Next track we got is Watch Your Step, which Watch Your Step that features boot camp affiliates like the representatives, which consist of members Supreme the Elohim and Lead You Rock. And also it also has like Louisville Slug and Rock on the fucking track 2. Yeah, this shit was pretty hot, shit was pretty hot, you know what I'm saying? Not really one of my favorites. But yeah, it's pretty solid song and shit. Then next track we got is the Illinois and shit like that, which again it features like another boot camp affiliate by the name of the Illinois and Helter Skelter. Yeah, I was not a fan of this track. I think it has a lot to do. I just didn't probably care for the beat, and I don't know. I just didn't really care for the chorus either and shit like that. I just felt like it could have been better. Maybe it could have been like a lot better if it was like a Helter Skelter song and shit. But yeah, man, that's fucking what's the song? 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 Illinois and shit. I didn't really care for that track too much. Track number 7, Ragtime. Um, Again, yeah, another solid kind of track and shit. This one has Steel, Matter Rock, and Buckshot. I definitely felt that I definitely wish that Buckshot would have rapped a lot more on this track too and stuff too. Boogie Brown and Buckshot produced this track. I love the piano that's used on this fucking track. Very very cool track. Not too much bad thing to say. And then we got fucking Blackout, which is a song that has basically a song that has a BJ Swan, Supreme, Steel, Strength Wonder, Rock, Louisville Slug, and Illinois. A song that's too long and shit. It's pretty much the song is pretty much like a weed song, pretty much, but I like the way they did it. I feel like it could have been a lot better, in my personal opinion. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion and shit like that. I just felt like it was a bit too long, basically. But yeah. The next track we got is Okie Dokie. Again, another song I really didn't really care about either. This one has MS, Stirring Wonder, and Tech. I really didn't care about this track. Another song that's been way too long. Next track number 10, Rugged Terrain. This song has Trend Ranks and it's Top Dog, and it's produced by Square. I don't know if it's just me, but I felt like they were trying to like do like a Wu-Tang kind of beat, especially with the way the pianos were and shit like that. Because if you guys hear like a lot of Wu-Tang around this era, like you guys know about the way how RZA always has use those high piano keys and shit like that. He sprinkles and shit, but I it was a cool song, but the beat I just felt like it wasn't that traditional boot camp sound, in my opinion. Track number 11 we got is the fucking Dugout, basically. Yeah, this is a basically a Louisville Slugger solo track, and it's in my opinion one of the best songs off this album. And yeah, I can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah. And that's no shots against Louisville Slugger, it's just by the overall quality of the album itself. But yeah, I like the lines when this cat says had got happy to slap thee upon the streets like heat poppy. But peep it, you watch men get stuff like stockings and wishes true to snatch away his Christmas. No hustle, no game, damn shit do change. For instance, let this nigga paint the page. 3 man fall, 3 stuff suffer from withdrawal. 3 hit the top, get stuck, but can't move no more. Like, fucking Louisville definitely did this thing on this track. Beat was pretty hot too and shit. Yeah. And then the last couple of tracks, to keep it a buck with everybody, is pretty forgettable for me. Like "Go for Yours" was pretty much like a song by the BTJs and shit. Didn't really care for that. Then we got "Licky Youth Men Them." Didn't really care for that either. Last Shot. Yeah, Last Shot was like a solid way to end off the album and stuff. But yeah, and that's pretty much this whole fucking album and shit. To be real. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck with everybody. Not like the best representation when it came to like the boot camp clique and shit because I feel like with this way they were trying to like do like a lot of different things, trying to appeal to like radio a lot more. They didn't want to have like that same underground energy that they had with the free release like Enter the Stage, Nocturnal, The Shining, and The Storm and shit like that. Like the live instrumentation was not a bad idea. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like some of the beats was just a bit too polished, in my opinion, compared to with the rest and shit. Lyrically, they were definitely doing their thing lyrically and shit. I didn't have a problem with the album lyrically. I feel like they all definitely did their thing, but yeah, it's just really did not care for this album. Like this album could have been a lot better and shit. When it comes to like the Boot Camp Click, man, like my favorite album from them, I want to say my favorite album from them altogether is The Last Stand, which came out in 2006. When it comes to all of them together, and mind you, that was the year after Sean Price came out with the Monkey Bars album, and that's when Boot Camp started like working a lot more with Ninth Wonder, and Pete Rock and shit like that too. So yeah, man, it was like basically all those factors kind of led to like a revival of the Boot Camp Click. To be real with everybody, but yeah, it's just kind of crazy because I definitely wish this album could have been a lot better and shit. And yeah, and it's kind of crazy because 10 years after this album was released, they re-released this album and shit like that, and they renamed it "Still for the People." But unfortunately, the album is actually, if I'm not mistaken, out of print. I believe you can actually get the album from their website. So yeah, man, that's basically all we got here. And yeah, thanks people for watching this fucking review. What's good, Christian? What's good, fucking try shit like that. Yeah, Illinois definitely was a B side and shit. Yeah, definitely was a B side and shit. Yeah, and yeah, I know there was a video for Heads Ain't Ready too and shit. What's good, DJ Tim Space King? You say you fucking love this album. Yeah, man. Most definitely, man. Like, it's all respect to you and shit because with this album, I just felt like, and in a weird way, I kind of want to compare this album because 1997 was also like the year that the Puff Daddy and the Family came out with like the No Way Out album and shit like that. And I just felt like with the No Way Out album, which I'm not going to fucking talk about. I'm just going to say like the Bad Boy Syndrome was definitely heavy when it came to like in the late '80s and shit like that. Definitely heavy and shit. A lot of underground cats were definitely trying to go for that mainstream, not mainstream, but that radio play, airplay and shit too. So sometimes it worked well for some, but other times it didn't work well with other people and shit. So yeah, that's definitely what I gotta say about that. And with that being said, that's all I have to say about boot camp clicks for the people. Now, a few announcements I want to make before I end off this fucking video and shit. Um, yeah, I'm trying to like definitely redefine. I got a lot of shit in this channel. Basically, I just have a lot of things I'm dealing with. I might have some major announcements that might come soon later on this year. What else? What else? Definitely trying to be in a transition mode because I know that StreamYard has been causing like a lot of issues lately when it came to like me like doing live streaming and shit like that. So that's why I've kind of like been I've kind of been basically scaling back. I've kind of like been cutting back on like a lot of live videos lately because I'm just trying to like get this shit handled. Because like I just don't like me doing this video and echo comes off because it just me personally it just always slows down the video process down. So yeah, just bear with me and shit. And I got like a lot of news I gotta share with y'all later on this year too. With that being said, I also did. I know last night I did a backup review because since I didn't do this review yesterday night as I wanted to do, I did a backup review by just finishing up the Rick James Wonderful album, which I yeah finally finished up reviewing all of Rick James albums in the '80s and shit. Well, besides the Kickin' album and shit like that. Besides that album, which I'm gonna talk about that album probably sometime in the future. But I know that I've got to like talk about this album and shit like that very soon. So I gotta talk about this album. Excuse me. So yeah, this been slowly but surely uploading. Just letting y'all know I'm still here and whatnot. But with that being said, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned tonight when I review. Stay tuned tonight till I review Das Effects Hold It Down with Tri-Barrel on his channel tonight too. Yeah, try definitely shout out to Ashley, a real day one and shit. Shout out to her. So yeah, man. And I've been definitely looking at everyone's review requests and shit like that. Don't get me wrong, because I know a lot of people want me to talk about Encore when it comes to the trash review. That's gonna be a very good review because I don't want to talk about Encore without at least talk about the Eminem show first, which I want to actually wait till I actually get the album, which if you guys keep your fingers crossed, there's a 50-50 chance I might review that album next month. But I just gotta handle some stuff with money and stuff like that too. They've been working on music too and shit like that. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more good stuff. Peace.